welcome back to part 14 of Godzilla-thon, and today we're taking a look at Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. So this movie, directed by Jun Fukuda once again, was a lot different from the previous several Godzilla movies which had been coming up, and really is kind of an anomaly in and of itself because of the very serious tone it tends to take, as opposed to just about any of the other Godzilla movies within the last, 10 or 11 even. But the basic storyline is this. Anguirus, oddly enough, is the one that we start off with in the beginning of this movie, when a strange light comes from a mountain not too far away from where he's standing. But we skip forward a little bit to this guy who really we don't know much about. He's just some construction worker pretty much. They find a cave, a mysterious cave, where this prophecy is foretold that a monster will come and destroy Tokyo, and two other monsters will have to come and defeat it. And we also get this strange kind of cutaway scene to King Ghidorah for some reason, when the prophecy is once again told by some girl somewhere. We then are introduced to another scientist who tries to kind of explain what this prophecy possibly means. And of course we've seen this actor a dozen times before, but he doesn't play the same character. Meanwhile, the main character's brother is spelunking in a cave when he finds a strange sort of metal, which he takes to yet another professor, yet again played by another famous actor who is not playing the same character at all either. But they find out that it's some sort of space titanium, and it's apparently the strongest metal known to man, apparently, or unknown to man. And that is exactly when Godzilla starts to attack. Godzilla comes and attacks from pretty much out of the blue, and he starts attacking. But Anguirus comes to save the day to hopefully fend off Godzilla from the rampage he seems to have gone on. And we almost seen a recreation of a scene that hasn't been seen in over 13 movies, and that is the Anguirus vs. Godzilla scene. We see Godzilla actually fight Anguirus, although unlike the original scene where Godzilla and Anguirus actually are almost sort of equally matched, this one is not equal. And Godzilla very promptly destroys Anguirus by pulling the old King Kong vs. the T-Rex scene where he splits his jaw open. And Anguirus can do nothing but tuck his tail and run away. Things get weirder though when Godzilla meets Godzilla and they fight each other. That's right, Godzilla comes to check everything out and sees this imposter posing as himself. They have a nice long battle in which Godzilla, the other one, apparently is fake and is actually made out of metal. This is of course Mechagodzilla. And they fight each other until Godzilla is actually defeated by Mechagodzilla, and he goes into the water to, bleed to death pretty much, and Mechagodzilla just kind of flies away. At the same time, a strange character who is involved with the aliens seems to be wanting to get the statue of a ancient Okinawan god, which apparently will open a gateway open up the way for the other monster that the Okinawans worshipped called King Caesar. And if he gets that, then they won't be able to wake him up, thus not being able to have Mechagodzilla be defeated by anybody. But they are quickly revealed to be aliens, as they're from the third planet of the black hole, somewhere in space. And I gotta say, these aliens are probably the most threatening of all the aliens that have ever been seen in the Godzilla series. Way more deadly than the Kelox or the Planet X aliens. These guys actually mean business. They actually want to kill you, and you kind of believe it too. They're really good, especially the commander, who doesn't have a whole lot of deep backstory, but he just, all of a sudden, you seem like you know him, and he's really bad, and you don't want to know him anymore. But of course, they wake up King Caesar by setting the statue in place, and of course King Caesar is no match for Mechagodzilla, but Godzilla himself comes back after a short training montage, not really, but sorta, in which he is somehow now able to magnetize himself if he so needs to, and of course Mechagodzilla, being a machine, is attracted to him, not in that way. So, with or without King Caesar's help, and really to be honest King Caesar doesn't help a whole lot, Godzilla is able to twist Mechagodzilla's head off. And meanwhile, in the control station, 3 of the human captives are able to destroy the control center, which brings the whole thing down and explodes Mechagodzilla. Because it just does. Anyway, though, that is the end of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, with Godzilla becoming victorious. movie takes a heavier, more serious tone than the previous 70s movies Godzilla, and is actually probably the most deadly villain Godzilla's ever faced. I'd say even more deadlier than Gigan or even King Ghidorah. Because it seems like Godzilla, and in this movie, even though it's not exactly the best of movies out there, as far as Godzilla movies goes, it's probably one of the better ones. And the thing is, you really do believe that Godzilla had something at stake here, because he's already lost once. So when he goes to battle in the final battle scene, you actually are rooting for him because you think there's a possibility he could lose again. And that's what I think is pretty cool about this whole setup. And the production value on this movie is just so interesting. It really is good. They put a lot of time into this thing. They didn't just slap together over 3 weeks like they did with the previous movie. No, they actually took some time with this, and you can definitely tell. It shows. It really does show. This is definitely the definitive Godzilla movie as far as the Showa era goes. And it's sad, too, because it's the second to last one. But it really was good, and it just really was pretty epic. It felt epic. But that's nothing compared to its sequel. But we'll get to that later. The acting was definitely good. The storyline, although very complex and a little bit confusing at times, it's still pretty good, and it's nice that it has a story, which a lot of Godzilla movies, you gotta admit, don't have a lot of story to them. So it's nice to have that sort of a mystery going on with the human characters, as well as Godzilla and the other monsters being involved in that mystery. And like I said, it feels like Godzilla's actually got something at stake here, like his reputation for one thing. Because Mechagodzilla actually beats him in the first battle, and so when he comes back, that makes that last battle all that more epic and important, and it is. Now, the addition of King Caesar, I didn't think was so important, and maybe not a good idea, because it seems like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, he could just pull that off on his own. And at this point in Godzilla's movie history, it seemed like Godzilla and the guest star hour, because it seems like every time Godzilla was in a movie, he always had a guest star of some kind. But this King Caesar character really doesn't add a whole lot to the movie. He doesn't really do a whole lot except for hide behind rocks. And he doesn't even have much character to him, because he even reuses King Kong's old roars from the old movie. So I don't see why he was really in it for that much reason. But still, it was really alright. He didn't get in the way, and Godzilla definitely would have been able to pull it off himself. In my opinion, this is probably the best Godzilla movie of the Showa era there is, just about. And I know Destroy All Monsters is epic and timeless as it is. I think this is just the better done one. And like I said, though, it's sad because it's the second to last one. There's only one more left of the Showa era, and then it would end for then. But we'll get to that later. Until then, this is an awesome movie. I give it 5 out of 5 Godzilla movie stars. So, you should go watch it right now if you haven't. And if you haven't, then you should probably check your Godzilla fandom rating, because you probably need to see this better. Anyway, though, I'm Creature Hunt Guy. This was Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, Godzillathon Part 14, and wait for number 15 next time. And until then, see you later.